Hi guys, it's Claire's and welcome to another video tutorial with me. We are in July currently and in the process of going through our wildflower videos as I have decided to make July a month of learning how to paint some pretty delicate wildflowers. This is just my practice sheet right here. Last week we did Heather, and this was like a close-up version of it, and so this week we are going to be doing something just as delicate and pretty, and I'm just going to go through my products really quickly before I tell you what we're doing. So I've got my Canson watercolor paper, I've got my brushes. We are going to be using the Escoda number 2, Silver Black Velvet number 4, and I find the Rigger number 2 by Zen Art really helpful to create these thin long stems that a lot of these florals, these wildflowers have. For colors, I'm going to be using my golden. This is the White Night set by St. Petersburg. Golden, I'm going to be using the Cadmium Medium Lemon. And then for the greens, we're going to be using green. And I'm just going to keep the yellow ochre and also the yellowish green handy just in case, along with the Mars brown. All right, so this is all the products we're going to be using. I have my water ready, and palette is almost ready. I think I could just use this. That's not a big deal. And we are ready to begin. Today we are going to tackle painting the Achillea. It's a very pretty, delicate floral, almost kind of reminds me of baby's breath, and lovely to do. So we're just going to do a single stem. Keep this simple and fairly easy for anyone to kind of follow along with. So the first thing I want to do is just kind of give myself an idea of how I want the stem to be and where I want the florals to come in. So I'm going to do a very rough sketch with a pencil to help me with that. Now we'll just do a single stem just like we did with the Heather, and I'm going to draw in a stem kind of going this way, very rough like I was saying, and then from the main stem we're going to have all these tiny little stems at the top that kind of have additional flowers. So some of them are close, some of them are kind of a little bit further away, and some are even starting from the top that way. So I'm just doing a very, very rough sketch, and this is just to kind of help me with where things are going to be. And then we can even have a couple of protruding stems kind of coming up from the side just to kind of add some additional floral interest. And then the leaves are going to be very kind of like mini fern leaves almost. So again, these are going to be for the leaves. I'm just going to do a very rough kind of line like this, lines on it, so then I know those are for the leaves. Having a rough sketch also will help you bring things into perspective in terms of size. You don't want the leaves to be more overpowering than the actual florals and things like that. So this would be helpful for in that area. So okay, so that's it, and I think now we can sort of begin our painting. So I've washed my palette and we are ready to start mixing the colors. I'm going to use my number 4 to quickly mix some color. So like I mentioned, we are using the golden and the cadmium medium lemon, which is right here. So I'm just going to mix the lemon first, get some water and mix that up in here. And this is going to be a very light, delicate looking piece, so we don't need to mix way too much. If we need a more potent color for any of these that we're using, we're just going to take it directly from the pan. So I'm getting my golden now. I'm going to mix that in over here on this side, and this way we get like a nice ombre effect for our pretty little florals. And if you guys want to use an image reference for these flowers, I am going to attach a link to an image reference below in the description, so please feel free to check that out. Also in the description, all the products I'm using are listed there, so if you are wondering about where you can get them, please do check that out there. I'm getting some of the green now. I'm going to mix that in since I am in the mixing mode of things. And just keep it handy. I'm just going to get in some of the brown as well in case I need to mix in a little bit of the brown. Mixing it in this little tier here. Love this little shell palette by Lisi Arts because it's got these little grooves, and then you can kind of, when you're doing smaller paintings like this and you just need these little areas to have your paint sectioned off in, it's perfect. All right, so now we are ready to start painting. We're going to start off by doing the flowers first, and then we will attach the stems and go down into the leaves. So, all right, so I have zoomed in just so you can see what I'm doing with the florals, and you can kind of get the idea of how this is done, because it's going to be small and delicate, right? So first thing I want to do is I'm going to start off by adding some of the darker hues, and it's going to be the golden, which is right here on my palette, and I am going to add them like tiny little little strokes, forming one of those, like almost like the forget-me-not flowers that we normally do in our compositions if you've joined me for any of my other videos. So let's start off with that. So starting off with some of the golden, and I'm going to sporadically place these in certain areas. So for instance, I'm going to do some here and try and make, like, leave some white space in between if you can. And you can see the consistency, it's like fairly damp, the consistency that I have going on here. And I want the floral area to be just at the top, not so much at the bottom. Like, we're not going as an arc at the bottom. So I'm just going to do quick dabs happening in these areas in a tiny format just like this, trying to leave some white space in between, trying to get that nice delicate feel of florals. All right, so now once I am pleased with the disbursement of this, I'm going to go ahead and get some of the lemon that we have, and I'm going to use my number 2 Escoda, and we're going to do the same thing here. And again, you want to leave this space so that you've got enough room, breathing room, that is. So white space is your friend. This is a very delicate sort of style of painting while it is loose. So we're not giving too much detail, but at the same time we want to make sure that it is not overpowering or like one big blob of color. So the whole idea of using these two different colors and then going and adding these little dabs of color is that it'll give us that nice ombre look. All right, so we're just gonna keep on doing this kind of all around. Now these florals come in several different colors, and some of them are even, well, they're like pink, and you get white, and you get nice mauve purple as well, but because we did the heather, I didn't pick that color. So feel free to kind of try this technique out with other colors, or maybe you want to do a whole spray of them with that, right? So I'm almost kind of finishing off here. Notice that I am going in and adding a little bit of that additional orange, and just maybe adding some quick little dabs here and there at the top and at the bottom, as in where I feel like it's needed, and it's kind of giving me that nice seeping in feel, or blending in feel, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm also just going to add like a couple of like dots here and there in these different areas, because again, like I said, it's like a very delicate looking floral. We want to make it seem like it's blending off into the background. If you wanted to use just the one color and just add water instead of using the second lighter color, that would also work and be a nice pretty effect. So try some of the things that I've mentioned already and see how that works for you guys. and let me know in the comments what you think. Or if you follow me on Instagram at HelloClariceG, just send me a quick note. So all right, I'm almost going to be done. Perfect. I'm not going to do any more. Let's just move on to the bottom two over here, and then we should be able to kind of go ahead and do more. So for the bottom versions, I'm just going to keep it light. It's not going to be as big as what we have in the top. And again, I'm just doing little tiny jabs or dabs. I need a little bit more color. So again, I did the same thing. I started off with the orange, and now I'm going to go off into the lemon. And this will give us that nice blending effect. So I hope you guys can see that, and that I have zoomed in enough. So notice how I'm like literally just like dabbing around at this point, not doing too much detail, kind of trying to keep it loose and light and pretty. Perfect. So I'm not going to do any more. Now we're going to move on to doing the green portion of it. And so for the green, I have my colors mixed up already. We're going to use the rigger first so we can draw in our lines. Now, since I have a guide already, we don't really need the rigger, but I have it ready, so why not? And so I like to start from the top down to the bottom. So that's what we're going to do here. That kind of helped. That was nice. Nice transition. All right, now I'm going to get a little bit of the other green just to kind of get some nice greens mixing in here, and just fluctuate between getting these the two greens that we mixed from your palette onto your brush as you're doing this. All right, and you know what? Some of these florals might still be damp. Go ahead and add a couple of little little lines in between, just to kind of show that they're attached to these tiny stems. And some will blend, some might not, but it adds something nice to your image, makes it extra loose looking and just pretty and delicate without giving it too much detail. All right, so there's that. And now let's do these ones here. And this is also quite relaxing to do, and it's so pretty to look at. Wildflowers is something that I never really stopped to really look at until cottaging and then also painting happened for me hand in hand. Then all of a sudden I started noticing these, and I was like, they are so pretty. Why are we not painting them more? So hence I have decided that for the month of July, June is done, we are going to be focusing on doing these pretty florals. All right, so I think we're done with the stems. We can now move on to the leaves. I'm just adding a couple of highlights, shadowy areas to the stems, and feel free to do that as well. These are like, you can add the darker colors just at the bottom of the florals, just right there, and then the lighter colors below, obviously, like leave it the same color, you don't need to go over. And yeah, I think that's it. So now we move on to the leaves. So for the leaves, I am going to be using my number 2 Escoda, and we're just going to get a little bit more of the dark green. It's not called dark green in the set of colors that I have, which is St. Petersburg White Nights. It is just called green. It's one of my favorite greens to use because I just feel it's so nice and rich and robust. All right, so this is the green, and we're going to start doing these little things, and then we'll add a couple of like tendril looking elements in this floral as well, in this piece. All right, so let's do that. So I'm gonna do one here, and it starts off small at the end and then you're kind of going slightly bigger. This is another reason I'm using the Escoda number 2, because it's so thin, and to draw these little lines in or paint these little lines in, it's fairly easy, and I want it to be this way. Alright, so we've got that one done. Let's do another one over here, just like I have drawn it in, and then we'll add a couple more elements. And again, these repetitive movements are also so relaxing to do, and I guess this is the aspect of watercolor that's so therapeutic and calming to the senses. Alright, I know there's some that happen right in between the stems this way too, so I'm just going to add a couple of them here, like on a tinier scale. They almost kind of look like mini palms, don't they? A little bit. And then they've got like some protruding, they look like kind of like buds, so I'm just making like little bud, painting little bud shapes in here. They're just like protruding from the stems. Adding a little bit of water, getting some more color, and then we can just add a couple more here and there, and then I think we are pretty much done. And if you want to add and enhance this for your own personal, I guess, use, or if you feel like you need to add something extra here and there, absolutely go ahead. I'm going to add a couple of elements happening this way here too, because I know that's also something that happens. And notice that I added these tiny little details here at the top. Just to kind of give it that extra detail without adding too much. Alright, and I think this is it. I'm going to leave it as this, but there's really, like, you can add more if you wanted to and just kind of go along with it. But I want to keep this simplistic, easy to do, fun to try for you, and yeah, just kind of learn watercolor, get used to it. So I think this is a fun a fun project or a fun exercise to do while creating something pretty. Alright, so let me know in the comments, guys, what you thought. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments, or you can always just send me a message on Instagram or on Facebook. I am happy to answer you guys. And thanks so much for watching. If you like videos like this, please do consider subscribing to my channel, as I do a lot of floral videos of this kind. And yeah, as usual, guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll chat soon. Bye!